Good morning, world. This is DS1 Ross. I'm back. I'm here. And it's a great morning. Here with a great topic. You know, some more information for the family. You know, thanks for tuning in. Sheep Stay Sleep Live. You know, Sheep Stay Sleep Podcast. Whatever y'all want to name it, but Sheep Stay Sleep Live. Shout out to all y'all who've been showing me support. It's been greatly appreciated. You know, shout out to all the subscribers, all the viewers. Shout out to the whole family, you know. But I'm here today, this morning, to come and chop it up with y'all real quick about the Deacons of Defense and Justice, y'all. The Deacons of Defense and Justice. And see, whoever's been checking out my channel or whatever, y'all know that I've did a Black History Month series. And I kind of found out about these people a little too late. I should have put them in my Black History Month series. They should have been a part of that. But I'm glad I learned about them. So I'm here to bring this information to the family. Just in case you are not aware of them. A lot of us don't understand or know a lot of our freedom fighters. See, we only know what they told us in school. So when you start doing your own research and things like that, you begin to open up a whole new world and you begin to see things different. And see, these are people that I never heard of. Everybody like to talk about the Black Panthers. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But what about the Deacons of Defense and Justice? You see, some people like to skip over in history. And that's why when I did my Black History Month series, a lot of people were shocked about the people that I picked, but I picked them for a reason. And that's because we have a whole nother history that's hidden or that's not being taught to our children or us even knowing about. And I definitely think the Deacons of Defense and Justice is one organization that slept on. It's not talked about as much. They're not really popular. So shout out to y'all once again. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Good looking out for tuning in this morning. So I'm gonna give y'all some history of the Deacons of Defense and Justice, and we're gonna get into the conversation. Peace to my brother Boss. Peace, bro. Africa, peace, King. And peace to everybody else that's watching. So I'm gonna give y'all a little background, family, of the Deacons of Defense and Justice, and then I'm gonna open up the panel and we could continue this discussion. So it says, the Deacons for Defense and Justice was an armed defense group of African Americans that protected civil rights organizations in the U.S. southern states during the 1960s. Historically, the organization practiced self-defense methods in the face of racist oppression that was carried out under the Jim Crow laws by local and state government officials and racist vigilantes. Many times the Deacons are not written about or cited when speaking of civil rights movement because their agenda of self-defense, in this case using violence if necessary, did not fit the image of strict nonviolence that leaders such as Martin Luther King espoused. So just in that paragraph right there, family, it's telling us that there's not a lot of information out here about this organization because they were willing to be violent if necessary. They were willing to stand up and to fight and even to kill to protect their people. And see, that didn't sit right with brothers like Martin Luther King because he wanted a non-violent revolution. But see, this organization, the Deacons for Justice and Defense, for defense and justice rather, they understood that there is no revolution without violence. They understood that. They understood that their role was to protect these people. But you had some leaders who were against these people. And this is why, you know, you don't hear about them as much as you hear about other organizations. So let me continue reading. The Deacons are a segment of the larger tradition of Black power in the United States. This tradition began with the inception of African slavery in the US and with the use of Africans as chattel slaves in the Western Hemisphere. Stokely Carmichael defines Black power as the goal of self-determination and Black self-identity. Black power is full participation in the decision-making processes affecting the lives of Black people and recognition of the virtues in themselves as Black people. So whenever we scream Black power, family, that came from Stokely Carmichael. And Stokely Carmichael defined Black power as the goal of Black self-determination and Black self-identity. Black power is the full participation in the decision-making processes affecting the lives of Black people and the recognition of the virtues in themselves as Black people. So what Stokely Carmichael saying Black power is that we must participate. We must participate in the things that that affects our immediate situation. Shout out to Queen True Royal Family because she speaks about that all the time. What is affecting our immediate situations? And this is what Stokely Carmichael said Black power is. And also, we must recognize the virtues in ourselves as Black people. So, as you can see, the Deacons were part of what we call Black power. What we deem to be Black power, they embodied that because they participated. You see, they were the ones protecting the civil rights leaders in these southern states. And see, in the southern states are nothing but Klan states. So these brothers was the security, and they weren't violent. They only got violent when it was necessary. See, people like to coin black men and women who stand up against oppression to be violent, to be angry. But as you can see, they were here for self-defense. And there's nothing wrong with defending yourself. You see? So understand what black power is, family. Understand what it is. It's not something you just say. It's something you identify yourself with. And you have to participate. You see? And this is what this organization decided to do. They decided to stand up and defend the political people who was standing on the front line to speak for them. They decided to protect them. You see? I'm going to keep reading. The Deacons were a driving force of black power that Stokely Carmichael echoed. Carmichael speaks about the Deacons when he writes, "Here is a group which realized that the law and law enforcement agencies would not protect people. So they had to do it themselves. The Deacons and all other blacks who resort to self-defense represent a simple answer to a simple question. What man would not defend his family and home from attack?" The Deacons, according to Carmichael and many others, were the protection that the civil rights needed on local levels, as well as the ones who intervened in places that the state and federal government fell short. So as I said, and as y'all can see, the man who coined the term black power, which is very important because a lot of us don't know who coined the term black power. The brother who coined the term black power spoke very highly of this organization. Very, very highly. So we must understand how important this group was. You see? See, they stood up and protected the people because they knew that law enforcement was not in favor for them. They knew that the law enforcement agencies would not represent them in any form or fashion. So these were the brothers and sisters who stepped up and defended these people who were under attack, who were under oppression. We talk about people were still ending up missing. Some people were still getting hung. People's houses were getting burned down, burning crosses on their lawns. This was the organization of people who were to come to people's aid, to make sure that a household was safe. You see? And we don't have that today, family. We don't have that in our neighborhoods. This organization was like neighborhood watch. We need that in our communities today, family. There's a lot of predators walking around in our community. They're attacking our children. They're kidnapping our children. They're raping our women. You see? So we definitely need a resurgence of a security force, such as the Deacons of Defense. But you see, it's hard to have this. You see, it's hard to have this now because when a black man stands up for his people, he's always cited for something. They always got to bring something up about his past, you know, or they go into how he may owe child support, or go into maybe he had a few bad relationships. You see, all of those things are vices that they use to have our people keep the black men in society who want to stand up, to keep them in position and to keep them stagnant, to keep us quiet. And see, it's our own people doing it to us now too. There's a lot of black men in the community that want to stand up. But how many of these women will tell you, don't talk to my son, don't tell my daughter anything? This is why there's no protection in the community, because you can't talk to nobody no more. And this is why they could come in and attack us. This is why the police could run up in people's homes and kill old women, because we're not crying out to be protected. We call the police, even to the point where our sisters is calling the police on us. Our brothers is calling the police on each other. This is why we don't call each other to defend one another. You see? And we have to understand this. This is why you don't have a resurgence of a protection force. Everybody like to say, you know, it might have to go to another level. But are we really prepared for that? Are we willing to let people stand up and protect us? And I'm talking about people that look like us. Because see, I notice with some people, with a lot of people, when a Caucasian police officer deal with them, they're very, very cordial. But let a melanated police officer come and talk to them, they want to get erratic and get out of control and start calling them sellouts and all types of stuff. So imagine if the Deacons of Defense was around nowadays. How will we receive these people? Would we allow them to defend us? Would we? Or will we ostracize them? Will we help the enemy get rid of them? You see, because one thing I noticed just reading history, I noticed that our people back then, they united behind the struggle. They united and banded together behind oppression. We don't do that anymore. We don't say we all in the same predicament. We all under the same oppression and band under that. We don't do that anymore. And this is why no one's here to protect us. Why you want to protect a bunch of disorganized people, dysfunctional people? We killing our own leaders now. Whenever we see somebody that want to step up and lead, we ostracize them. We leave them out there in the cold. We don't protect them. You see? So we got to understand how important the deacons of defense was. How they really, really stood up and did something that nobody was doing. And the person who coined the term Black Power spoke highly of them. So let me read a little bit more about this organization. Let me give y'all some more background information. It says, the Deacons were not the first champions of armed defense during the civil rights movement, but they were the first as an organized force. Organized force. Pay attention to the words, family. Organized force. Not chaos. Not running out in the street and being foolish. Organized. Many individual activists and other proponents of the nonviolence protected themselves with guns. Fannie Lou Hamer, the eloquently blunt Mississippi militant who outraged Lyndon B. Johnson at the 1964 Democratic Convention, confessed that she kept several loaded guns under her bed. Others, such as Robert F. Williams, also practiced self-defense. Williams transformed his local NAACP branch into an armed defense unit, for which transgression he was denounced by the NAACP and hounded by the federal government. He found asylum in Cuba. So basically, this is where you have the justice part. They had people at the NAACP down with them. You see? Robert F. Williams. Robert F. Williams. And these were non-violent people. But they knew that they had to protect themselves. You see? Because they knew what they were faced with. And then you had certain people who were pushing the narrative, like always, who felt that it was necessary to try to ostracize these people. But see, not only was this organization militant, but they were intelligent. And they organized around that. Fannie Lou Hamer, she was eloquent. And you could tell she had to be eloquent. She was at a Democratic convention. Speaking on the behalf of her people. Robert F. Williams. He ran a local branch of the NAACP. And he turned it into a self-defense unit. So that also goes to show that we need to take part in politics. We can't say we're not going to take part in this government, especially if we're going to sit here and say we created the government. And based off the definition of Black Power, you have to participate. You have to participate and deal with the daily things that affect us. You have to be part of that decision-making process. So that's politics. That's local politics. That's what that represents. The decision-making processes that affect us every day is local politics. So these people also took part in politics. So they knew the law, they understood the law. These weren't foolish, angry, reactionary people. And we have to understand that, family. We was never them type of people. All of the revolts were organized. They were strategic. Just go back in history and look. We were not a savage people. Everything we did was strategized. It was thought out. It was planned. Stop talking about doing reckless acts, because that's not Black power. That's foolishness. You see? That's terrorism. You see? We can't do that. And when you look at history, we didn't do that back in history. We were organized. Organized power. Organized force. So let's stop saying, oh, we don't need to deal with this government. Yes, we do. We need to deal with our local politics. If you screaming Black power, because you have to be part of the decision-making process of what Black people got to deal with every day. And if you're not going to be a part of that process, then guess what? You just a spectator. You just watching the game. You're not in the game. We got to get in the game, family. These people were in the game. We got to be in the game. We can't watch the game and say what people in the game should be doing. We got to get in the game and understand what Black power means. And the only person that could tell you what Black power means is the one who created the term, Stokely Carmichael. So we have to get into local politics, y'all. If we're going to organize correctly, and move things forward, this is what we're going to have to do. So I'm going to give y'all a little more information before I open up the chat. You scroll down a little bit. It says, the Deacons were instrumental in many campaigns led by the civil rights movement. A good example is June 1966 March Against Fear, which went from Memphis, Tennessee to Jackson, Mississippi. The March Against Fear signified a shift in character and power in the Southern civil rights movement and was an event in which the Deacons participated. So, in 1966, they had a March Against Fear. Listen to what they were marching against. Fear. What do they promote to our people every day? They promote fear. You see? And this is what we got to stand up against. Fear. You see, they're not marching for equal rights. They were marching against things that they knew that they were putting on the people in society. You see, they marched to show their people that they weren't afraid and that their minds was in a place of power. You see, the march against fear signified a shift in character. You see, it signified a shift in character. What are our marches signifying now? What do these marches signify now? Nothing. It's like get-togethers. These people had a purpose. They knew their purpose. And see, that's what we have to regain. And see, I don't think we have a purpose because we lost the definition of Black power and what Black power truly is. Because if you understand that you're going to be a part of the decision-making process of what affects Black people every day, you cannot be afraid, because you may lose your life, you may lose your family, you may lose everybody in doing this. And this is why they marched against fear. So people could stop being afraid and start being empowered. So we could stop the passive aggressiveness and become empowered and start standing tall. And this is what the Deacons of Defense and Justice represented. And I think we need a resurgence of this. We need a resurgence of this mentality. Of exercising our power. But there's no power without organization. We got to organize. You see, that's our problem. We can't unify without organization. We have to organize. But we have to organize around an ideology. And what is our ideology? Black power. But see, you got to know what Black power is. What is it? It's being proud of yourself. It's loving yourself. But it's loving yourself and your people enough to go out and fight for them. So it's not just something you can identify yourself with. There's action behind it also. And it's not violence. You see? We got to stop thinking about violence. Because it's not about that. It's about being part of the decision making of us. So shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now that's showing love this morning. You know, good morning to everybody once again. I'm going to put the link out there in the chat. Y'all come through and y'all want to chop it up about this topic? Y'all can. You know, good morning once again to everybody. Good afternoon, Jade. Shout out to London. London is in the building. London is in the building. Good afternoon. Peace, Sister E. JT, peace, brother. What's up, Water Sniper? Good morning, the great Negroologist. Peace to Sixth Dynasty. Shout out to everybody. I put the link out there. Peace to Brother Robert. Morning, bro. Peace to Maxine Winfield. I see somebody came through. Peace, peace. Peace, Sister
Right,
J.
DS
Good
one.
afternoon.
Morning. Well, it's morning for you.
Yeah. Shout out to
What's the
London.
topic?
The topic is about the Deacons of Defense and Justice.
In terms of what the history or like what we need to do now?
Well, a little bit of both. I'm basically, letting the family know who were the Deacons of Defense and Justice, because a lot of people don't know who they were and what they did and how, we need a resurgence of something like this today.
Oh, that was with Robert
Because,
F. Williams, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Robert F. Williams, Fannie Lou Hamer, definitely.
Yeah. I
And,
mean,
I mean,
we've
we've
been
been
needing that for
needing that for
ages.
ages.
It's never been a thing
It's
of we
never
need
been
it
a
for a
thing of we
certain
need it
time
for a
and then we
certain
don't need
time
it
and then we
anymore.
don't need it anymore.
Because
peace, boss. Can
Because
you mute yourself,
peace,
bro?
boss.
peace, boss.
Echo.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Hold on, y'all. What up, Jay? SAS.
Peace, boss.
Peace, boss.
Go ahead,
But
sis.
yeah. I mean, we God knows how. So this is something that we've constantly been needing, but we just haven't. I think we've become discouraged because everything that we did got thwarted. So we had like the Panther Party. You had all different kinds of routes, and everything got ruined. So it just kind of discouraged us from doing anything. But this is something that's been necessary since day one. So I think we've been so like beat down. Everything that gets ruined. I mean, it's like imagine that every time that you reach the glass ceiling, you just have to fall back down, and eventually you don't bother trying again because you just know what the end result is. I mean, it's basic stuff, but there's just so much that goes into it. A lot of drama that happens over the time in fighting. We just kind of want to avoid it, but when we're avoiding it, we have situations like this that happen.
Right. I agree with you, you know, because I do feel like people don't have that people don't have that in them anymore in society. A lot of people don't. A lot of people feel like there's nothing to fight for. It is what it is. A lot of people are living with that mentality, you know, but I really don't rock with that because those are the same people that if something actually happens, they're going to run to the people who've been telling them to do this. We need to do that. We need to do this. We need to do that. So I noticed that when black people asses is up shit's creek, then we want to run to the people who've been giving them the messages. It's like in the Bible stories. God sent the people messengers to let them know plagues was coming. Things were coming their way. And they ignored the messenger. So then when the plagues hit and the messenger was gone, the people ran to look to try to get the message again. Oh, what's gonna happen now? What do we do? But the messenger is gone now. And God sends them another messenger or another prophet, you know? And that kind of shows what happens to us, to black people. We're constantly being warned. Generation after generation after generation, there's always a sector of black people who spoke on our behalf, who told us the things we needed to focus on. Prophecies and told us what was coming down the pipeline. But we ignored them. And then when the shit actually hit, now you running looking for the person who was telling you about it, who was standing on the front line defending you. Now those people are gone. Now something else happens and then we look for those people again. So when do you think that's gonna stop?
I think it's going to stop when, basically, I mean, here's the thing. It's a life or death situation now, but like when it's, when the pressure's really up, like when it's literally we have no other option, only then are we going to get it together. Other than that, like when we still have a bit of room to breathe, we're going to keep on doing it until we literally have no other choice. That's just my opinion. But I've got to go because I'm on my lunch break and I'm just about to end up.
All right, thanks a lot,
But
Jay.
I'll be listening in. No worries, I'm going to be listening in. I'll be in the chat.
Okay. And yeah, I definitely agree with that. I really feel like this is my idea. I really feel like it's very, very important until the dollar crash. Once we see our money is not worth shit anymore, and all that working and all of that you thought was important, once society deemed that shit no longer important, then I think we're gonna be looking to band together. So once that dollar crash, if it crash, that's when I think we're gonna get it right, family. Boss, peace, King.
Yo, what up? Peace, bro. What up? What up? What up, Jalen? Already done hollered at Miss SAS, you know? But, the thing is, bro, like I told you yesterday, I got hit to the Deacons a couple months back in like March. I was on YouTube watching some black exploitation movies, and I had came across the Deacon of Defense, and I'm like, Deacons of Defense? I'm like, let me watch this. And I mean, bro, after watching that, it had got me into that, fucking white people up syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Because, they really tried to play us. And the main problem when we talk about unity, like I said, we can't deal with the white man first. We got to deal with these coons and black crackers first. We got to get them out the way first. You know what I'm saying? It's just like in basketball, when the ref, when he start tampering with plays so the other team can win. See them coons and black crackers, they the refs. And we need to get them out the way so we can continue to play the game. That's where I'm coming from. And, it really pisses me off too, and I'm going to put it out there, that all of a sudden, me being a 36-year-old man, now I'm hearing that Dr. King was a coon. Malcolm X was a coon. The same people that fought for us, that died for us. So when I hear people talk about Dr. King being a coon and Malcolm being a coon, and the big question I gotta ask, so was Dr. King's ass whooping and vacations to the county, was those staged? Is that what I'm being told? That's my biggest question. So if people want to call out Dr. King and stuff like that, was his ass whooping staged? Did he set that up to make it look good? I don't think so. From the old video footages that we all seen back then, I don't think so. So we got to deal with these coons and these black crackers first. Then we go holler at the white man. But we can't take him out because it's always going to be the black crackers and the coons. They're going to be there to take up for him. They're going to be there to run back and tell them our plan. Somebody had to stick up for us back then. And the same people that's talking about these brothers is coons you know, saying that these brothers was faking and these brothers was coons. I mean, the big question to me is, what did your grandfather and your grandmother contribute to this community back in the 60s? What were they doing? Probably somewhere smoking crack, and your grandfather was probably somewhere trying to be a fake-ass pimp. But now the grandkids then got older, and now they talking all this shit about the black community. I don't like that shit. I don't. We didn't ask for this. We didn't ask to be hated. We didn't ask to be brutally murdered and raped. We didn't ask for that shit. But now in today's society, to stop bitching and complaining, if I heard somebody white physically in my face say that, I'm breaking their jaw. Don't tell me what not to bitch and complain about when it comes to my people and the things that my people had to take. The Deacons of Defense, because they wasn't scared. See, a lot of them niggas was scared back then. Some of us had to stand up, and the Deacons stood up for it. So that's how I feel on that.
That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. And as you could see, you had a lot of people who didn't want, a lot of leaders or a lot of black people who dealt with politics back then, they didn't want the Deacons of Defense around them because they was trying to push this nonviolent movement. And those brothers wasn't violent at all. You know, it's just that they protected themselves at all costs. You see? See, I noticed in America, when black men and women decide to defend themselves, it's a form of aggression. But when they decide to defend themselves, they're protecting their lives. You see? And what happened was over time, we started to think that that's what we were doing, that we need them to protect us. And if we decide to stand up and protect ourselves, then, you know, we're radical. And there's a lot of black people today that have that same mindset. But then they turn around and cry when another little boy get murdered, like Trayvon Martin. See, if we had a Deacons of Defense, you see a lot of that shit would have stopped. It would have stopped after Trayvon. It would have stopped after Tamir Rice, Oscar Grant. Then we wouldn't have had a Kai Gurley. You know, we wouldn't have had these other people being killed by police officers because we had an organized force that was there to stand up for us and to protect us. Because these guys wasn't just security. They had intelligence also. Look up Fannie Lou Hamer, black woman, highly intelligent. But she also let it be known, I'm gonna protect myself at all costs. So you're right, bro. There was a lot of scared people, man. JT, what up, bro? JT, what up, bro? Jalen, what's up, man? What's up, little bro?
Not much. Oh yeah, we gotta deal with these swirlers too.
Man, you already know. You already know. So definitely, man, the Deacons of Defense and Justice is something that was important back then. We definitely need it now. You know, look how many black politicians or just black people that's in politics, period. Look at what they do to us. Look at what Ken Thompson did. Look at what they do. Look at Ben Carson, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. You see, back then, you didn't have too much of that because if you felt like being for your people, you had people that would stand behind you. See, now I think, you know, like the brother was talking about, he was saying that just like back then, it's now people are scared. So a lot of these black men and women that's entering into these positions, they're afraid. They're afraid to say how they really feel about a situation because they don't want to be chastised. They don't want to lose nothing. You see? But back then, we had an organization that protected black politicians. You know? They walked hand in hand, side by side. They showed up to court. And I think we need that now, man. I really think we do. It's necessary because who's there to protect us? The police don't protect us, just like back then. So we definitely need an organized force, man. We need that. Go ahead, bro.
I mean, and I agree with you. Like I said, and like I've been saying, we need to deal with these coons and black crackers. We need to strong arm them. There should be no way in hell that a black man or black woman should be able to talk down against the black community and live healthy to talk about the shit.
We need
You
to deal
know,
with these.
we got to get
We
them
got
out.
also we gotta deal with these self-hating swirlers too.
Bro, that, you know what I'm saying, Jalen, that all mixed in with coons and black crackers. You got to deal with them. Forcefully, aggressively. Stephen A. Smith, he should be walking around here without no missing teeth or no black eyes for the shit that he said. And then these scary ass black folks, these scary ass niggas, you know what I'm saying? They only, haven't got the message yet. The white man has simply sent the message to all of us. Okay, you can come work for me. Okay, cool, that's cool. Say what you want to say against your black community. But guess what? I'ma fire your ass less than a week or two later. So you working for me and talking against your own people, you're, you're not flattering me because I'ma fire your ass later. We got to deal with these crackers and coons because we can't have conversations. We can't organize with every black folk. Because every black folk ain't our kin folk like y'all say. And I done heard y'all say. Same black folks, same niggas are going, they don't have no problem getting in no shootouts with their brother and sister. But when it comes to the motherfucking white boy, oh, they don't rob him. They don't shoot him. They won't beat his ass for having the wrong color on. But we do it to our own. You know, that's just like that Spencer little white boy. You know, that's been getting his ass whooped. You know, me sitting back watching the video, and it joyed me to see white people screaming, fuck white supremacy. That joyed me. Enough is enough. We can't just call out niggas and call them coons and black crackers without doing something to their ass. It should be a penalty to talk against the black community, especially if you're a black man or woman. It should be a penalty. That's how I feel.
JT, want to touch on that?
Well, yeah, I'll touch on it a little bit. I think we're in this climate right now that we think everything we had gotten, and it's not true. We have to understand we got to be more vigilant to keep on fighting for our rights. The work still continues. The struggle still go on. We still got more people got shot by police. We still got much people being disfranchised in many levels in our community. We still have more people. We're not being in very stable relationships in our community. It's not a certain bond with the kids, with the parents no more. I'm not saying all, but the majority. It's not enough elder statesmen is stepping up and said, cut that bullshit out. So people say, did we make progress? I said a little progress. And I remember back then, when I was coming up, you better not talk about Malcolm X. You better not talk Freddie Muhammad. You better not talk about Martin Luther King. No. You get called out. And now they make this at this certain language now. Oh, yeah, I got this certain paper. I got this certain prestige. I could call people out. No, you don't have no right to call them out because these people had gave their life for our rights as a people. So we got work to do. We got a whole lot of work to do. And we got to develop this militant attitude again. We have to. I don't know how we're going to find it, but we better find it quick. Because the hunt is still on. Thank you.
Peace, Uncle Shug. What's up, bro?
Peace, bro. I left my earpiece in the house. I'm gonna jump off because it's too goddamn noisy out here.
All right, no doubt, bro.
Yeah, I thought I had my earpiece with me.
But yeah, family. The Deacons of Defense and Justice, man. We need this. You know, we don't need any organized. We don't need no unorganized reactionary situations. You see, this is why they coined the term terrorism. You see, they've been calling a black man a terrorist. Now they're trying to call black women terrorists. That's why you see the police killing all of these black women. So black women, it's time for you to get back on board with your black man too. Not all of us, but the ones that's worthy. Because the system not going to save you either. It's no more black men are making excuses about the system. There's no more of that. Because it's now out in the open again. The stuff we've been speaking about for years that you thought we was using to make excuses, now y'all suffering from it. And guess what? It's hard for us to protect y'all because we still at each other's throats. You see? And this is why I was talking about earlier. This is why you don't have a Deacons of Defense and Justice today. A lot of those men were married. They had wives. But they wives understood the mission. They understood the cause. They knew what was going on. Not just in a household, but in society. And the way they participated was by being a helpmate to their husbands and getting out of their way and not trying to control situations. You see? And this is why this was effective. This is why the black men of that time were effective. We don't have that now because a lot of men are afraid, because a lot of men are afraid to stand up. They're afraid to stand up for something real. But they're damn sure stand up and argue if they belt is real or fake, or if they sneakers is real or fake. But they won't stand on the front line for a real purpose, for a real cause. And see, that's because they don't see themselves as being that important. So I understand. But ladies, take hold of the good men and the men that have a voice and that want to speak. Stand by them. We need y'all. Because nobody's here to protect us. Just like y'all don't have nobody to protect y'all, nobody's protecting us either. This is why I preach brotherhood. Ain't no brothers out here protecting brothers. First thing a black man saying about another black man, man, fuck that nigga. That's the first thing. So just like y'all out here and y'all feel like y'all alone, we feel the same way. So let us band together behind that. So we could get our households together and then the men could go out in the world and execute. But it's hard for the men to be out in the world executing when he got a troubled home. Want to touch on that, bro?
I definitely agree with you on that. You know, it's two types of fight that the black man got to worry about. He got to fight that fight on the job. Then he got to come home to chaos.
Yeah, and boss.
What's up, brother?
Yeah, we also got boycott that ghetto gaga stuff. It's destroying black women too, ghetto gaggers. But yet some of these one of them swirls like Christian Karen types won't call this stuff out.
Well, you know, she's part of the weak crew. You know, we don't fuck with the weak ass crew. That's the crew she a part of. You know, it's too much going on. You know, back in the day, the black woman, you know, in the 60s, when all that shit was going on, she didn't have time to go get a side piece. She didn't have time to twerk. She didn't have time to wear half-naked ass clothes out in public. There was no time for that. The only time it was for was to stay up in that house, take care of the kids, while the king was out representing and doing what he needed to do. There wasn't no time for all this shit that we got going on today. You know, I just put up a video on my page earlier, probably like an hour ago, where, you know, the biggest thing now, the white man is crying about these drugs, these overdoses. You know, all of a sudden they come out with a narco pen. But they didn't have that shit back in the 60s when that shit was over here. Hell, half of the soldiers was serving the war doing heroin. But they don't talk about that. So, you know, this white boy, you know, he overdosed. His brother did a live stream this morning on Facebook. He done went through his dead brother's phone, and is calling numbers in his brother's phone. What you want us to do about that? You want to be mad, go take down the army. Go take down the government. Because that shit wouldn't be coming over here still to this day. I remember the Reagans and the Bushes and them say, the war on drugs, don't do drugs. But at the same time, they on camera saying that to our fathers and our mothers. At the same time, they preached that they was letting that shit come through here to try to tear down us black folks. But see, just like, you know, us black folks, you know, you could give us a piece of paper and we'll turn something into nothing. And next thing you know, you got a whole gallery. We always been the smart people like that. They brought them drugs over here so we could get on them. And some of us did get on them drugs. Some of us did fall victim to them drugs. But the other black folks were smart enough. Okay, white man, you want to bring this shit over here? Okay, I'll make money off your shit. And I'll go buy my nice cars and my nice clothes with your dirty money. Then that's when it became a problem. So we got to understand a lot of things was put here for us to fail. Some things did work, some things didn't. How you gonna give a black man football numbers for some punk ass dope? 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. But yet, I could kill my brother, my sister, and get 4 years, probably 2.5, 3 on good behavior. So if I kill my brother and sister, I get less time. But for me selling your dope that you brought over here to me, I get more time. Some bullshit, man. these meth labs and, meth. Us black folks, we weren't thinking about no shit like that. This is all demonic white man shit. You coming up with chemical fucked up ass drugs for your own, because I ain't never seen a black person addicted to no meth, nor did the shit. So, like I said, I'm gonna say it again. If we gonna move forward, before we move forward, it's Operation Smack Around These Coons and Black Crackers. They need to be scared to come out the house talking that shit. So that's where we need to start at. We got to deal with our own first before we got to clean up our own backyard before we try to clean up the next door neighbor. That's where I'm at.
I feel you, bro. I definitely do. And I think what we need to do is us people who are aware of things and what's going on, we need to use our history as a lesson for us to proceed, to keep going, not to stop, not to look back and keep looking back, but to keep moving forward. The Deacons of Defense and Justice is just an example of what we did in history, dealing with oppression. What are some of the things we implemented? So, with this show, bros, I just wanted to show the family that we had organized movements. We expressed Black power, and not through violence, but through organized force. Not through violence, I repeat, through organized force, defense, and justice. See, we can't forget the justice part, because that ties into them dealing with the political sector of things. As I read, Fannie Lou Hamer, she made this dude Lyndon B. Johnson look crazy at the Democratic Convention in the 1960s. She cooked his ass because she was intelligent and she spoke very eloquently. But she also took pride in defense. And she taught that. And she stood on that. So that's what we have to do today, family. We have to be intelligent. We have to be intellectuals, but we can't be punks either. We can't let people run over us, and we can't be afraid to defend, even if that leads to death, even if that leads to imprisonment. Defense, not violence. So, shout out to everybody that came through this morning. I'm glad y'all came through, show love. I'm getting ready to close out. Y'all want to touch on anything before I close out?
I just want to say, thank you to the Deacons of Defense, for being concrete brothers, not being scared little bitches like the coons and black crackers. That I can't thank them enough. I just can't thank them enough for what they did for us. Because they didn't just do it for their family, their immediate family. They did it for every black man and woman and child on this earth. So to the black people, my people, it's either you with us or you gonna collide with us. There is no third choice. There is no C choice. It's neither one or the other. And if you're running with us, which is A, cool. You want to collide with us, which is B, that's even better. Make your choice. What side you on? Because I know whose side the Deacon of Defenses was on. That's it, bro.
JT, got anything you want to say before we close out? Jalen, got anything you want to say before I close out, bro?
No.
All right, no doubt. Thanks for everybody tuning in. I'm your host, DS1 Ross. I'll be back later, family, with another one. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all hit the bell for the future notifications. You know, thanks for tuning in again this morning, family. DS1 Ross, you just tuned in to Sheep Stay Sleep Live podcast. They're out there. Peace.